Welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock. As always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Ravens today. Man, John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, they both addressed the media and sent really strong messages. Lamar Jackson with a very fiery and, direct message with what the Ravens need to do. So I just got a chance to listen to the John Harbaugh bye-week press conference. We're going to talk about what the Ravens can do moving forward, and a surprising statistic that shows the Baltimore Ravens are actually one of the best 8-5 teams in NFL history with a strong chance to still win a Super Bowl this year. Plus, Bill Belichick weighs in on Justin Tucker. Lane Johnson sends a really strong message about how good Roquan Smith is. And we got some injury updates and more, man. So let's go ahead and dive into the content. At number 1, I want to talk about what Lamar Jackson had to say post-game against the Philadelphia Eagles. He was asked about the Pittsburgh Steelers being a game and a half ahead of them in the division. Here's what he had to say.
You're a game and a half behind the Steelers. Where do you think the full team is?
We don't need to worry about the Steelers. We need to worry about us. Like, that's the first thing. Worry about whatever we need to clean up on this side. Like, forget every other team. We need to be beating ourselves out there. Little opportunities, we're not making them happen. We need to make those critical situations happen, and we're not doing it.
So Lamar Jackson makes it clear, man, hey, we know what we're capable of. We know we're talented. We need to focus on us. The Ravens have lost 5 games, which is 5 more than they wanted to lose this season. And you can look back in every single one of those situations and see, a ton of, self-inflicting wounds, penalties, missed field goals, and stuff that, the Ravens were actually not just outperformed, out-talented, outmatched against in these games. Most of these games, the Ravens had more yardage, more production, even won the turnover battle in some cases, but just fell short with self-inflicted wounds. The Ravens are a really good football team at number 2, so good that they're actually the highest 8-5 team in DVOA in the last 40 years. Ken McCusick on X says it really well here. He says it appears more likely than not that the Ravens will have to make any playoff run on the road, but they're still a very good football team. And I can't imagine any other AFC team wanting to face them in January, even in their own building. And I even asked this to our guys in the live stream yesterday and in the Patreon as well, our Discord guys. I said, hey, honestly, who in the AFC is just way more talented than us? Who in the AFC you think would just blow us out? Who do you think is legitimately just a better football team than us? You look at the hottest team in the AFC right now. It's the Buffalo Bills. And we match up really well with the Buffalo Bills. In fact, we blew them out when we played them earlier in the year. They don't have a great run defense. They don't cover tight ends great. And we happen to run the football and have elite tight ends. We also were able to shut down their offense and stop their run game. I think we match up really well with the Bills, and I think we can beat them again at home and even go into Buffalo and beat them. Kansas City's the other team right now, and we took them down to the wire in week 1, and they've really struggled the last few weeks. I mean, they've really struggled against the Carolina Panthers. They struggled against the Raiders. Kansas City is vulnerable. They just lost to the Bills, and yeah, they have the track record. It's no cakewalk to beat Kansas City, but there's no team I'm looking at in the AFC right now and saying, hey man, they're just way better than us. They have more talent, and we're just going to get our doors blown off. All right, guys, so you already know our Baltimore Ravens are one of the best teams in the NFL right now, and I cannot wait to see how they finish down the stretch for the playoffs. And if you guys are looking for tickets for any Ravens games or any other events, man, SeatGeek has got you covered. So big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app in the business. There are more than 70,000 events on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports events like our Ravens, festivals, and more. And NFL playoffs are right around the corner. And our Ravens, they have a chance to win it all. And what's awesome about SeatGeek is they put all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure you're getting the absolute best deal. And each ticket, if you guys look at the app here, each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. So look for the green dots. Green means good deal. Red means bad, not a great value. And you guys know I came through for you guys. Use my code FLOCK for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. Again, that's $20 off your first purchase with promo code FLOCK. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app. And I truly believe that as long as number 8 is healthy, and as long as he's strapping up a pair of football cleats on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever day it is, that, hey, man, the Ravens have a chance to win that football game because of the generational elite type of talent that he is. And then you look at the weapons around him with, Derrick Henry, with Zay Flowers. Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers can both take it the distance anytime they touch the football. We've seen that happen multiple times. Then Rashad Bateman, he took it yard against the Chargers, against the Buccaneers. He's big on third down. The tight ends with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. The Ravens offense is statistically still one of the best offenses in the league right now. Top 3 in almost every statistical category. And then the defense has surprisingly actually turned a page and played really well the last few weeks and have held their own, getting stops against really good offenses, against the Chargers, against the Eagles. If the Ravens can get stuff to click, at least like 80% on both sides of the football, they're a really dangerous team in the playoffs. And here's what John Harbaugh had to say on everything still being in front of them.
I'd like to have a few more wins, but I'm glad we have the wins that we have. Everything that every goal that we have is in front of us, and we have the team to do it. So what can we do to – Bill Parcells had a great quote. He said, the season starts after Thanksgiving. Wow, what a truth for the teams that are still in it, and we're one of those teams. So we have an opportunity now. The season starts now. I'm proud of our guys. I feel like they've fought through a lot of things this year. It's been 13 straight weeks. We've had a lot of tough games, had a lot of travel. We've gone against teams kind of in situations where they were, they were hot. They were at their best. They were in good. They were playing good football. They were healthy, and it's a challenge. And I think our guys handled all those challenges really well. So that forges you for what's ahead. It's made us the team that we are, and I think recognizing with some rest this week, their legs back under us, we'll have a chance to do really well going forward.
He's the coach. Of course, he's going to be positive, but I really do believe the sentiment that everything is still ahead of the Ravens. With the talent they have, with all pros on all 3 levels of their defense, Marlon Humphrey having a career year, Roquan Smith is playing much better the last few weeks. We'll talk about that in a second. Kyle Hamilton getting moved to free safety with Adarius Washington, and then the schematic changes and adjustments that Zach Orr's been making, the defense improving with the potential that we've seen on offense. The Ravens can be a very dangerous football team. But one of the reasons I think that the Ravens defense has improved the last few weeks at number 3 is Roquan Smith. He went down with an injury against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but before that, he was a heat-seeking missile blowing stuff up against Najee Harris and Jalen Warren in the Pittsburgh offense. And then he had a really nice game against the Eagles. He was calling out plays, identifying stuff, and here's what Lane Johnson had to say on Roquan Smith.
Games like this, every possession counts. I think we try to emphasize communication and eventually you stay consistent run game, a big play's going to happen, which it did. But it wasn't pretty. I thought they were pretty stout defense. They got Roquan Smith, calling out lots of plays. They were about to run. So for me, seeing linebacker doing that was since Luke Kuechly, he's probably the guy calling out the most stuff. So very smart player, instinctive player. That's why he has so much success.
So he says, hey, Roquan was calling out a lot of plays before they were even ran. He said he hadn't seen that type of intuition from a linebacker since Luke Kuechly, and that's really, really high praise. Roquan Smith had some ups and downs earlier in the season, but it's getting it's December football time, baby, so it's now or never. And it's looking like for Roquan Smith and his defense, it's now because they're really improving, making strides. Marlon Humphrey said that, hey, there was a message sent that, hey, the guys that want to play ball, you're going to be on the field. And the guys that don't, man, you're not going to be on the field. Speaking of guys not being on the field, at number 4, let's talk about some updates from John Harbaugh. We'll go back and forth with some clips here. But a guy that was not on the field was Deontay Johnson. And John Harbaugh said in his press conference today that at this time, I'm going to have to wait. There are some moving parts there that we're going to have to figure out and explore and see where we're at. It's the best I can do in fairness to everybody. So if you guys missed it, Deontay Johnson traded to the Baltimore Ravens, a talented receiver with multiple 1,000-yard type seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But with the Steelers, he had some off-the-field, locker room type of conflict. He was ultimately signed by the Carolina Panthers in free agency. There was reports of similar type of stuff going on in the locker room, unhappiness, maybe it was uncoachability, I don't know. But now, Deontay Johnson, he was on the bench whenever Rashad Bateman went down with an injury. So, obviously he's a receiver. He wants to play. He wants to get the football. I don't know exactly what's going on, but we know something's going on. The fact that, John Harbaugh, when he was asked about, hey, will he even be on the team after the bye week, he couldn't even commit to that. So it'll be very interesting. And Lamar Jackson said he would talk to Deontay Johnson about it because he said we need him. And I think that's true. If Rashad Bateman isn't going, if he's not out there, we talked about how I like this trade back when it happened. I said, hey, if Bate or Zay goes down, Nelly and Tylan Wallace as your wide receiver 2 and 3 is not the ideal situation. We saw what that looked like against the really stout Philadelphia Eagles defense when Bate went down. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen with Deontay Johnson. It's disappointing, obviously. We didn't give up much in draft capital to acquire him, but it'd be cool to see him contribute, right, and be a weapon in the offense. And that just has not came to pass yet. What I really like about having Deontay Johnson and having a healthy Bateman, a healthy Flowers, is that depending on your matchup, we're going into December football, we're about to go in the playoffs. Depending on the matchup, with the personnel we have, you can employ specific strategies against teams' weaknesses. Example, right? The Buffalo Bills don't have a great run defense and don't necessarily cover the tight ends great with their safety play and stuff. So you want to run the ball, use your tight ends, maybe stay less out of 11 personnel than you would some other teams. The Texans, however, if we play the Texans have a pretty decent run defense, but their secondary is vulnerable. They give up a lot of big plays down the field and give up a lot of passing yards. So in that type of game, you want to maybe use some more 11 personnel with Deontay Johnson, Bateman, Flowers, Nelly, Tylan, right? You want to have more options when it comes to how you attack different teams and not be pigeonholed into your personnel because you don't have the guys to adjust against a weakness that the defense may have. So I think Rashad Bateman being healthy is going to be huge. Here's what John Harbaugh had to say on a health update from Rashad Bateman, who left the game early against the Eagles.
Sore in the game. He had treatment today. It's not a long-term thing. So it's something he'll, like all the guys have these kind of things, I think. A lot of guys have these kind of things. Late in the season, the bye week will really help him. I do believe that.
I think Bateman is crucial to this team's success. He's having his best season as a Baltimore Raven. Not only can he take it the distance in the home run ball, the big play, big bomb, long touchdown against the Chargers, against the Buccaneers. We know he can get vertical, but it's not just those. I mean, he can, in man-to-man situations, he can shake you out of your cleats. He's a great route runner and man-to-man, creating separation, but also can sit it down over the middle of the field in those type of zones and soft spots where we've seen him get open for Lamar Jackson. He's a big, trusted third down target. Lamar and Bateman's connection has been building, and I really hope that it's nothing serious, that the knee injury doesn't, hinder his explosiveness or, any of his movement skills. Hopefully it's just a pain management type of thing. But John Harbaugh says that it got sore and that it's typical for some players, this late in the season. Hopefully the bye week should help. Reminder, we got Giants upcoming, then the Steelers, Texans, and Browns. So obviously the two most difficult games there are the Steelers and Texans. Very capable of winning both those games. If we win out, we're probably going to win the division. If we win 3 of those 4, especially the one against the Steelers, could still very well win the division. But if we go 500 in those last 4 games, we'll probably get a wild card, but not, win the division. One other thing that was addressed by John Harbaugh is the offensive line. He was asked during his bye week, do you think there will be any changes to this offensive line? And I was not thrilled with the response. He said, I don't think it merits any changes right now. I would like to see at least what it looks like with Daniel Falele coming off the field for Andrew Voorhees or Ben Cleveland. Same thing with Patrick McCarry, who's been a penalty machine at times, and they both struggled in pass protection multiple times in this game. I understand it was against a really good defensive line, but in the playoffs to go win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat teams with really good defensive lines. And if you want to win the Super Bowl, you might have to play the Eagles again. And what makes you think that we can pass pro whenever we really couldn't hold up against anything against Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, multiple first-round guys, Josh Sweat, all those guys in that front for the Eagles, very, very talented. I understand they had a lot of talent, but there was times where there was guys right in Lamar Jackson's face within a second of the snap, which is just unacceptable for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. So, yeah, I would like to see what it looks like to switch one or two of those guys before it's, no redos, before it's playoff time, and it's, win or go home. I'd like to at least see one of those guys, if not both, be replaced on that offensive line just to see what it looks like. If they don't perform any better than Falele or McCarry, then go back to what you were doing. But, I'd like to at least see what that looks like, so I wasn't necessarily thrilled with that response. The other thing that was addressed was Justin Tucker. There's a lot of different opinions on this. I stated my opinion yesterday. I was very irritated. So a lot of guys are saying cut Tucker. Some guys are saying, hey, man, you can't cut him. Who else is really out there that is more talented than Tucker? So go ahead and take a listen to what Bill Belichick had to say.
Probably about the way that Coach Harbaugh is handling it. When I look at Tucker, I don't see a lack of talent. He still has great height on the ball. The ball, travels with plenty of distance. Clearly, there's some fundamental technique thing that he's not doing consistently. And that's caused him to miss both to the left and to the right. So I think, what I would do is keep working on the fundamentals and the technique of the kick. I don't think there's a lack of talent. I think it's fundamentally there's just something that's not quite right here. And I'm sure that Justin and Coach Harbaugh and the whole operation, the holder, the snapper, are all trying to get this down. I think he's definitely capable of doing it, but like you said, there's nobody else out there that has more experience or has mentally been in more situations than Tucker has. I think I would go with Tucker.
So while it's true that there aren't guys necessarily out there that are more talented or proven than Justin Tucker, it is probably true that some of those guys out there could have had more on-field production this season. We're talking about Justin Tucker missing multiple extra points, 10-plus missed field goals this season, and you can't tell me that there's guys out there that could have maybe missed 7, 8 field goals, 5 field goals, but 10 missed field goals is a really bad problem to have heading into the playoffs. But I get it. I get what John Harbaugh is saying with the talent and then him making the kicks consistently in practice and even in pregame. But then whenever it's out there on the field, that's what you got to judge off is the actual production. But Bill Belichick saying, man, he's striking the ball well. It's traveling, but it's just a technique accuracy thing. So I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments section below. I think it's worth a shot to bring in another guy for competition and see what it looks like. But I guess we just got to hope that we aren't trying to kick any game-winning field goals and that we, blow teams out or get a big enough lead or scoring touchdowns right. But that's going to be difficult to do for an entire playoff run. So Tucker will probably have to make some kicks this season if the Ravens ultimately do what they want to do and win a Super Bowl. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments, man. Smash the like button if you got any value out of today's content. As always, man, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.